Hey, welcome to another edition of Vegas Bad Boys of Podcasting. DJ Impact here and Sin City Steve, man. Thanks for showing up.
Hey, it's my pleasure. How you doing
Yeah,
tonight, man?
yeah, I'm doing good, man. We don't have
Good.
Simon Street with us. We don't have Matt Michaels, and so it'll just be you and I tonight. But it's still going to be a great show as normal. If you're watching us live, throw your comments into the chat and we will try to get it in as we see fit. A lot of wrestling been going on this past weekend. And man, I guess we'll just get right into it. Let's just start with our four-way stop of the week. All right, Sin City, you up first. Tell me what was your highlight of the week.
I sure as shit would hope that I'm up first. I mean, hell. In all seriousness, of course, my items this week are going to be the most noteworthy. Brock Lesnar winning the Universal title in Saudi Arabia, which obviously sets up Roman versus Brock, title versus title. Something that I floated the scenario on a couple of months ago, right on this very show. And now I'm not wanting to say that I'm solely responsible for that. However, after I mentioned it, it just so happened to happen. So
It's amazing how that happened.
I'm just saying. Realistically, though, the biggest problem that I have with this series of events is not with the match itself. I think that these guys are going to go out. They're going to have a great match. Obviously, you've got Brock Lesnar. We all know what he brings to the table. And you've got Roman Reigns, who is the head of the table. So, I mean, these guys are going to have an epic clash at the most stupendous WrestleMania of all time. Right. And one incidentally that I will be there to witness live. Because I had made mention on the show that I wasn't going to be there. But yeah, I will be in attendance now. So realistically, the biggest problem that I have with this match, like I said, is not the match itself. Okay. It's the fact that they had Brock win the Rumble as well. So essentially, they're not elevating anyone into the main event. Of course, we'll end up, closing the show with the visual of Roman probably holding both titles over his head at the close of the show. And obviously that should make for, the picturesque moment that should sum up the Mania. Right. But still, it would have been nice to have somebody to, to be elevated. Elsewhere, Undertaker being named to the Hall of Fame. Yeah. Which obviously we all knew that it was going to happen. It was just a matter of time. Realistically, though, it just begs the question, who inducts him? Is it going to be Kane? Is it going to be some people are even actually saying that Vince McMahon himself might induct him? Who knows? Yeah. The other thing that's interesting with this is during the Women's Royal Rumble, Michelle McCool was inadvertently described by Pat McAfee as a Hall of Famer. So does this tip the hand on that? Are we going to see Michelle McCool get inducted to the Hall of Fame in the same year as her husband?
Yeah.
Probably. So.
Yeah. I can see that. Why not? Taker's been loyal, right? So what do you do for a loyal guy? Almost whatever he wants to make happen. Let's make it happen.
And it's in Texas, obviously. So, I mean, shit. There you go.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, cool, man. My four-way stop, I really enjoyed the from NXT, the Pete Dunne match and Tony. Listen, I haven't been I've been familiar with the storyline for some time, and it's been kind of like, whatever. But this particular match where, anything, all the items that are hanging up in this ring from trash cans and crowbars, which is just insanity. These guys were able to pull it off and not hurt one another as much as they really could. There was a few times I was like, oh my God, especially when Pete does that, I don't know what he calls that finisher, that move, but when he does better, yeah. When he does that, I'm like, please make sure it's not where a crowbar is, because it's no way of once that's in motion, if it's in the way, you're going to get hurt. So, But they put on a clinic there, and I really enjoyed that. Believe it or not, I have to shout out the Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara match on Dynamite.
Look at you.
He's growing up. No, listen. I know they've had several matches before, and but I tell you, they definitely put on the show, and that was a match I actually wanted to see a little bit more of. Now I don't know where that, if you want to know what goes from there. I mean, what happens? I mean, listen. Sammy had to continue to hold the belt, but what happens with Darby? I mean, Darby's not having any good luck as of lately, so I don't know where it goes with that. But overall, the match itself was very entertaining, and I was for it. So that would be my four-way stop. Let's get right now, though, into the Too Sweet for the week. All right, so look, I'll kick this one off. The Too Sweet for the week could not be, Sin City Steve, then what happened at No Surrender when you have the Impact Tag titles against the Gorillas of Destinies and the Good Brothers. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't see it coming because the Good Brothers, of course, had been talking about ending this Bullet Club thing and not being a part. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess they're kind of moving on. And as soon as I saw what was happening, I was like, oh shit, I should have known. They're part of the, you know, I guess you could kind of say they're part of the original, definitely the New Japan version of Bullet Club, right? So I'm like, oh, that would make sense, you know, and it's just great now having Chris Bay a part of that. But yeah, if you didn't know, the swerve happened, and I didn't see it. Gorillas of Destiny end up getting attacked, you know, by the Switchblade. And then what do you know? The Good Brothers, they came in and they all did the Too Sweet. I didn't see it, but I thought that had to be the moment. I was like, oh man.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. And you know, it's very interesting with that. You know, the you mentioned that you can't have the Too Sweet without you know, mentioning that, and I agree 1,000%, man.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but that was mine, man. Tell me, what was yours for the
week? Man. So the you mentioned the attack from Switchblade on that show. Well, I'm actually going to shout out Jay White because he appeared on 2 different promotions this week. He didn't just appear on Impact Wrestling. He also dazzled in his AEW debut. And that match with Trent Beretta looked very solid. Both guys brought it. They looked awesome. Of course, you know, getting the "This is awesome" chant from the crowd is always a good barometer for how things are going in the match. And you know, little things like Jay White suplexed Beretta to the outside in the match. And I mean, it's just things like that, you know, you can really tell that he spent his time in New Japan, picked up some offensive maneuvers that aren't really seen on mainstream North American television. So it's really, really good to see that a North American audience is taking to Jay White on the scale that they have been. When he broke in, and the first time that I saw him wrestle was for Ring of Honor. I mean, he had white trunks, didn't really have a gimmick, just a complete vanilla baby face. And just to see his transformation into what he's become is awesome. Elsewhere, I did want to throw a shout out to CM Punk, who is just genuinely on another level on the microphone. We've known that for years. This week proved it again. I think that CM Punk versus MJF in a dog collar match. I mean, he might as well be the Miz.
Yeah, I mean, come on,
you know.
Keep it real.
I think it'll be amazing. I think that both guys will you know, bleed, and realistically, we're gonna see the ways of the dog collar match. You know, we're gonna see the lineage of the dog collar match actually be realized in this match.
Right.
It's long been a match that has been, you know, very, very violent, brutal. And I think that this time at Revolution will be no different. Also, Sammy Guevara and Darby get the too sweet as well. I know that I'm rambling on, but I didn't want to go on after you already sung the high praises. I definitely agree. I just wish that match wouldn't have felt like a Raw or like a pay-per-view match with a Raw finish, with Andrade costing Darby the win.
Right. So. Yeah. I feel you there. Okay. Let's go right into our WTF for the week. Let's do it. All right, so I'll start this one off. Look, man, I saw the clip of the Elimination Chamber with Drew McIntyre and Madcap Moss. Oh my God. I never felt so much fear for a person in my life. And I don't know how that happened. I know things can go wrong. I know everything can, I guess, always be perfection, but that is something you have to be careful on. He could have had a career injury, just be done. Just done. That's a wrap. You know, how many people that's taken that out? And I just looked at that and just cringed over it. And if you don't know, I don't know what exactly that move was, but when Drew pretty much flipped over Madcap and he went over his head, he came down right onto his head, which just dig right into his neck, pretty much came down and it just affected his neck. You can just see it. And I was happy to see he was able to continue. And, you know, I guess the best thing you can say is I guess having muscle and working out definitely helps a lot. Because if that would have happened to someone like you and I who don't have that easily could. I'm just saying, you know, we don't have
so true
muscle type, you know, strong that type of neck. I mean, that's anyway. That was mine for the week. I saw that and that I was just I was afraid for Madcap, and I'm hoping. I haven't heard anything. I'm hoping everything is good with him. So that's what. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So incidentally, the move that injured him was Drew McIntyre's reverse Alabama slam. So yeah, that basically, if you want to think about it, and shout out to our boy Chris in the chat. Yeah, swinging the sword at Corbin's head in Saudi Arabia. Yeah. that deserves a what the fuck in itself.
Right, that is true.
But yeah, so essentially what caused it honestly was Moss himself. He tucked his chin when he shouldn't have.
Okay.
Realistically, he should have just taken the bump. And he shouldn't have tucked the chin. The first thing that came to my mind was like Yoshitatsu. When AJ Styles actually broke Yoshitatsu's neck when he gave him the Styles Clash. This was in New Japan. And basically the number one rule with the Styles Clash is that you do not tuck your chin. Tatsu got caught in the heat of the moment, tucked his chin, and almost the exact same thing, like almost the exact same visual. And I was like, holy shit, his neck's broken. And then they fucking wrestle for another 5 minutes.
I know.
My what the fuck though comes from somewhere else in the show.
Okay.
The Bobby Lashley elimination is complete bullshit. Now I get it. I do somewhat get it that they wanted to keep him strong or whatever.
Right.
But the thing is, if they knew that he was legit injured, and the things that I've heard have said that ever since Rumble, he's had a shoulder issue since his match with Lesnar.
Oh, okay.
So chances are it's because he was taking the Germans the way that he did and completely messed up his shoulder. So he's having shoulder surgery. But the thing is, what clinches this to be on the WTF list for me is, again, similar to what I mentioned with the the issue that I have with the Reigns and Lesnar
Mhm.
debacle is you could have easily had, you know, Lashley come out, forfeit the title, and just say that whoever wins the Elimination Chamber match will be the champion. That way, Bobby he doesn't lose whatsoever, but also you can fill that sixth spot in the Elimination Chamber with someone else to possibly elevate somebody else. But yeah, best wishes to Bobby Lashley. Shoulder surgery's no joke. He's going to be out for about 4 months. So
Ooh,
that
wow.
really sucks. He's going to be missing Mania. Not cool at all.
Not at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I question how they did that, but I'm glad they did something in that manner. Then, make him look weak and have him go through the same process that a Kofi, a Big E, or even Bianca Belair suffered, where you know, 5 seconds with apparently someone tough, you just get knocked out and counted 3. So I'll take that any day over what could have been a bad look, for Bobby. So, all right, man, good stuff. Let's go into our look out. All right, cool. So I have 2 from the same show, and it was from NXT. The first one, man, Solo Sikoa challenging Walter. Woo!
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'm with it. I'm with it. I was like, man, this would really, this could really, I mean, Walter's already there. I mean, at the level. I mean, I'm happy that he's with NXT. I think if he's ready to go onto the main show, that he's ready to do that. So I think this would be huge for Solo. This can really help. Now I don't think he's going to to beat Walter, but I think depending on how this comes together, how they write this and how well Solo performs, this could be really a big move for him. And I'm guessing they want to get him. I don't know. Since it is the ultimate goal is to maybe get him with, the Uce.
I mean,
I mean,
you would have to be either deaf or ignoring the chance of Uso when he was, squaring
right,
up, and you had the visual right there as well of
exactly.
Walter or Gunther along with Imperium, and Solo jumps up on the apron and he doesn't have anybody with him.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I'm looking out for that. Let's see what happened. And then the same one, of course, the Creed brothers, they get the Dusty Classic. And I'm excited, man. Diamond Mine, I mean, they're really doing like a really good job with this faction with it. And I'm just hoping that they continue to build up on it. This was a really good look. I figured they were going to win it, but you just never know. I mean, MSK. I mean, I don't know. I like MSK a lot. I know there's been some fans that at some point seemed like that they were kind of getting, and that by the way was back in the beginning of their start. And, you don't hear so much of that now. I think because these guys are talented. It's no way that you can't look at MSK and not, just see how talented these guys are. So so I figured it was going to still go to the Creed brothers. So I'm looking out to see what's going to happen with that. I know now they're going to have speaking of with Imperium, they're going to get a tag match. So that's going to be awesome, man. I'm looking forward to that match as well. And, and see where this is going to go with Diamond Mine. So I'm definitely looking out for that. What's your lookout?
Yeah. So for me, I'm gonna throw it to something that before I do this, I have to ask just a simple question of you, Impact, since it's only you and I on the show.
All right.
What are you thinking about this ROH and Impact angle?
I like it.
All right, good.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you were torn or anything like that, but so anyway, my lookout is Eddie Edwards turning his back on Team Impact to follow his roots and to join Honor No More. Eddie Edwards got his major level, mid-major level break with Ring of Honor. So to see him go back to his roots, make the swerve, look like he's coming into, as the cavalry to save Team Impact with the stick.
Right.
He turns around and just lays waste and joins up with the heels, man. I loved it. Loved it. Impact No Surrender was definitely a show that was highlighted by the swerves and the heel turns, things that you didn't see coming. So if for some reason you are still not watching Impact Wrestling, take it from me, somebody that is not always tooting the horn of Impact Wrestling.
Right.
Go watch Impact Wrestling on every couple of weeks or every week, preferably. Dude, they put on great programming.
It's storytelling. It's storytelling and performance. It's just not, going out there doing some wrestling moves and then that's it. No, it's truly, you get involved in the entire storyline. And that's what makes professional wrestling great. If you can have a story to all the matches that you see happening. And Impact has got it, So yeah, shout out for you shouting that out, because that swerve was like, whoa.
Definitely, man. It was awesome. Elsewhere, it looks like we might be getting Moxley versus Danielson at Revolution. Holy fuck. Sign me up for that shit.
Right.
John Moxley and Bryan Danielson, obviously, the promo was cut a couple of weeks ago. Danielson beats Lee Moriarty. Someone else that incidentally he mentioned in that promo was wanting to take under his wing. And after the match, Danielson says that he wanted an answer. Moxley comes out, cuts a great promo, and says that he never aligns with people that he hasn't already bled with. So that tells me that they're going to face each other at Revolution, and then maybe after that we get the stable. I'm hoping so, man. I really want to see where this goes. So I'm looking out for those things for sure.
Absolutely. All right, man, let's get into our best in show. Best in show, No Surrender, man. Best in show, top, all the way from the start of the show to the end of the show. I mean, by the way, huge new fan. I mentioned him last week. I couldn't remember his name. Big fan, Speedball, Mike Bailey. This guy, I would love to have seen all of everything he's done in the past, because if whatever he's doing right now is great, I can only imagine when he was even younger what type of things he was doing. This guy's amazing, but the show, and that started off with the number one contenders match for the X Division title. It was him, Jake something, Ace Austin, and Chris Bay. But yeah, the show was just it was just great all around. There wasn't a match that I didn't like, and I even enjoyed the Jordan Grace and Matt Cardona match. Matt does a good job. I mean, what's so great about him is that first off, we know he's way big, too big to be fighting Jordan Grace, but he's careful but looks effective.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Without a doubt.
You know what I mean? Like it also showcased Jordan, which we already know how much of a beast she is, but she gets to do a lot of moves that you go, man, she's really putting it onto him to the fact that it's selling it. So I don't know. I enjoyed No Surrender. To me, that was just the show of the week. I couldn't keep my eyes off of the entire match, man. How about for you?
Without a doubt, man. No Surrender was awesome. So I'm going to go in a little bit different direction. And obviously, I'm sure that there are going to be those people that are going to claim that this is the homer pick. But for me, it was AEW Dynamite. And it seems like as if this is becoming the norm. AEW Dynamite every week is the absolute, usually every week anyway, is the best wrestling show that I've seen that week. From top to bottom, this week was no exception.
That's right.
The fastest 2 hours of pro wrestling on a regular basis, and this week was no exception. I mean, you know, we briefly touched on and probably didn't give enough spotlight to that TNT title match.
Yeah.
Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara. You also had the breakup officially of the Inner Circle. Jake Hager and Chris Jericho losing to Santana and Ortiz, who look like as if they're going to unite with Eddie Kingston to make a new faction there. I'm all for that, man.
Yeah.
And incidentally, you were wanting to get some clips or some matches from Speedball Mike Bailey. Go check out his time in CZW and CZW, yeah, Combat Zone.
Oh, got you. Okay.
Awesome shit. But yeah, the AEW Dynamite again, man. Announcing, setting the table for, you know, not just the CM Punk versus MJF match, not just the TNT title match, but we also had the setup for Adam Cole versus Adam Page for the AEW World Championship.
That's right.
And officially, we had Adam Cole turning, if you will, on Adam Page, the former Elite member. Because up until this point, they've been kind of buddy-buddy, jokey. And now we see what happened as Red Dragon and Adam Cole beat the absolute shit out of the Hangman and left him laying in the ring.
Yeah.
So yeah, solid stuff across the board.
I'm going to say something I probably shouldn't say because I shouldn't even admit to this, but Adam Cole had a point. Before, I'll be honest with you, I'm not familiar with Adam Page, okay? I wasn't familiar with him as he started his career. So as he was starting to make his entrance, I did get a little confused on the Adams. I won't even lie. I won't lie. And so when he said that, I was like, oh, well, damn, that's kind of true.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, like, even from Ring of Honor, both of those guys got their just like Eddie Edwards, who I mentioned earlier, those guys got their mid-major break in Ring of Honor. And yeah, unfortunately for Page, he was always in Adam Cole's shadow as being the other Adam. So when he said that, I was like, holy shit. So it very, very solid stuff.
Absolutely. All right. Everyone, thanks for hanging out. I know this was a very quick show. We don't have our other fellows with us today as it, you know, everyone's doing their thing. But we do have our next show coming up right after this one. So if you like and subscribe and follow us on Twitch, YouTube Live, or Facebook Live, you should get the notification. And then we're going to come back with our 3-count topics. And yes, we are going to talk about everything that happened with Cody. Man, I don't know. We don't need a countdown timer for that. That might be a good 10-minute talk. So we definitely will talk about that. And there's some other good topics. So just make sure that you come right back on. The notification is going to pop right back. And then we'll continue. All right. Until then, thanks for hanging out with us for our wrestling talk. And we will see you next week. Peace.